One cold day in 1889, people in Italy saw something strange. A man walked into the street and stopped when he saw a horse being hit by its owner. He ran to the animal, hugged it tightly, and began to cry. Some say he whispered to the horse, "I understand you." The people around watched in silence. That man was Friedrich Nietzsche, a famous thinker. After that moment, he never spoke clearly again. His mind was broken, but the reason was a mystery. Why did this smart man cry for a horse? What happened in his life that made him lose his mind? These are important questions with deep meaning. Nietzsche was not just a man who read books. He was someone who touched the heart of many people, even years after his death in 1900. He asked hard questions about God, pain, and life. He wanted to help people find their own path when the world felt cold and full of fear. Some think Nietzsche's last moment with the horse was not just sad. It felt like something bigger, like he was saying goodbye to the world in his own way. This event was not a beginning or an end. It was a key to a deep story about a man who lived in pain, thought deeply, and kept writing brave ideas. Before we learn his big thoughts, we must first look into his life. A life full of deep loss, strong questions, and a strange way of looking at the world. Nietzsche's early life was full of pain and change. He was born in 1844 in a small town in Prussia. His family was very religious, and they followed Christian beliefs. His father, a Christian priest, became sick when Nietzsche was a child. This made life very hard for the family. Then, his father died when Nietzsche was only 5 years old. 1 year later, his young brother also passed away. These two deaths made a deep mark on Nietzsche. He started to ask why bad things happen to good people. These sad events made Nietzsche start to ask big questions about life and God. He felt confused about why such pain happened to his family without reason. He grew up listening to stories from the Bible and learning that God was loving and kind. But his real life did not match those stories, and this gave him doubts. He wondered, why does a kind God let children die? These questions were the beginning of his long journey to understand pain and the meaning of life. Nietzsche's family kept strong faith, even after the deaths. But young Nietzsche could not feel the same. He slowly lost trust in the God he once spoke to in prayer. Pain made him think that there may not be answers in religion. He began to look around at people's lives and saw that others also suffered and felt lost. These thoughts did not leave him. Instead, they grew inside him and shaped his ideas in the future. His early loss helped form the way he saw the world. As Nietzsche grew older, he became a very bright student. He first studied theology, which is the study of God and religion, at the University of Bonn. At first, he studied Christian theology to understand his faith better. But after reading writers who asked hard questions about God, he started to doubt his beliefs. Nietzsche slowly lost his faith and decided to leave theology. He moved to another university to study philology, the study of old books and languages. At Leipzig University, Nietzsche felt more free. He learned about history, language, and the deep stories behind old words and ideas from the past. He worked hard and became a strong student in philology. His skill in understanding old languages helped him become well known by his teachers. Because of his great work, he got a very special job. At age 24, he became a professor of classical philology at Basel University in Switzerland. Nietzsche becoming a professor at such a young age was very rare. Most people were much older when they got jobs like his at famous schools. Even with this big success, Nietzsche's journey was just beginning. His job in Basel helped him learn more, but also made him feel alone inside. In the next years, Nietzsche would start to feel weak and sick, but his mind stayed strong, and he was ready to ask even harder questions about life. After leaving his job as a professor, Nietzsche's health became worse. He had strong headaches, bad eyes, and often felt very weak in his body and mind. Because of his health, he moved away from the university. He chose to live alone and quiet, far from schools and cities. He looked for peace and fresh air. He traveled to many towns in Europe, staying in places with warm weather. His body was sick, but his mind was full of ideas, and he never stopped writing. Nietzsche spent most of his time alone in small rooms or simple homes. He read and thought deeply, writing many notes and big ideas in his books. Even though he was poor and often sick, he stayed busy with his mind. He did not work for money, but for truth, meaning, and new ways to think. Pain was always with him, but he turned the pain into writing. His books came from this quiet, lonely life. They were filled with strong and deep thoughts. Some of Nietzsche's best books were written while he was unwell. These books include Thus Spoke Zarathustra, The Gay Science, and Beyond Good and Evil. In these books, he spoke about big ideas like God, life's meaning, and people's values. He asked if it was possible to live a good life without old beliefs. He wrote that people no longer believed in God. He called this the death of God. This made many feel lost, without clear reason or goal in life. Nietzsche said, "God is dead." But he did not mean it as an attack. He meant that many people no longer truly believe, and that old faith rules were falling. When belief falls, people can feel lost. Nietzsche saw that this could lead to sadness and a feeling that life has no reason or worth. This is called nihilism. He worried that people would give up without belief. He asked, "How can we live now?" His answer was not to cry, but to build new ways of thinking and living. Nietzsche wanted people to be strong inside. He said they should not wait for meaning from others, but make their own meaning, even in a world without God. He said that old morals, like being humble and weak, were not always good. He thought people should aim to be powerful, free, and full of life and ideas. This new kind of person was called the Übermensch, or overman. This person does not just follow crowds, but creates their own values with strength and care. The Übermensch is brave, creative, and alone in thought. They do not ask others who they are. They decide their own path and walk it, even if it is hard. Such a person does not need old rules from outside. They understand their deepest wants and build a new life with power, spirit, and action from within. Nietzsche did not mean people should rule others. He said true power comes from having control over yourself, not from leading or hurting other people. Another big idea of Nietzsche was the will to power. He said all life wants to grow, rise up, and become better, not just stronger on the outside, but inside too. He said this will to power is not bad. It helps people face fear, pain, and hard times. It is not used to hurt, but to stay strong, learn new things, and create. Growth means becoming a better self through effort. Even if life is hard, we can grow with each step. The will to power helps us move, not stay still in fear. After talking about strength and the Übermensch, we now look at how Nietzsche saw pain. He believed pain is not just bad, but can also help us grow and change. He said that life always includes some suffering. Instead of running from it, we should face it with open eyes. Going through hard times makes people stronger. Nietzsche thought that suffering helped people find their true self. Pain can teach you what matters in life and show you who you really are deep inside. Unlike some other thinkers who wanted to escape pain, Nietzsche said pain has a reason. He believed that people need a reason to live, which he called a why. If your why is strong, you can go through almost any trouble. This means that knowing your purpose in life helps you face even the hardest moments with power. Having a clear reason helps people keep going. Even when they feel tired or sad, their why gives them hope and helps them stand up and move forward again. Nietzsche said pain is like a fire. It burns, yes, but it also gives light. If you learn from suffering, it can show you truths no book or teacher can explain. This idea was new. Most people wanted to avoid pain. But Nietzsche asked, what if pain is the path to strength? He thought pain could shape a better self. He felt that deep change never comes easy. To become great, people must sometimes lose comfort. Pain then becomes not an enemy, but a teacher in life. Nietzsche looked at struggle in a special way. He believed that people grow best in hard times, when they are pushed to find new strength inside themselves. He said true growth happens not when life is easy, but when it is hard. Struggles push a person to choose, to act, and to find their deepest values again. Through problems and hurt, life asks us, who are you really? Nietzsche taught that when we answer this, we grow into someone stronger and more real. At the age of 44, Nietzsche's mind broke. He lost clear thinking and could not care for himself. After hugging a horse in the street, he never spoke clearly again. His family took him home. For the next years, he lived with his mother and later with his sister. Nietzsche stayed sick, silent, and away from the outside world. He no longer wrote or talked about his ideas. His body lived, but his mind was gone. He spent the rest of his life in a quiet, dark place without clear thought. Nietzsche lived many more years after his mind broke, but those years were quiet and sad. He could not read, speak, or take part in normal life again. His sister took care of him and kept his books and letters. She showed his work to others, even when he could not speak to share his ideas anymore. During his last years, many people still did not know who Nietzsche was. He was not famous, and his great ideas were only read by a small number of people. Nietzsche died in 1900 at the age of 55. His ideas had not reached many people during his life, but things slowly changed after his silent death. Some readers began to see great meaning in his books. A few thinkers picked up his ideas and shared them with new groups all around the world. Year by year, more people read his work. What was once hidden started to grow. His words touched those asking deep questions about life and self. Nietzsche became famous after death. His books were printed again and again. People said his ideas were brave, deep, and helpful for new ways of thinking. He showed how pain could have meaning, and how humans might grow through hard times. His life was an example of living truth with full heart, even in dark days. Though he died in sickness and silence, his words are now alive. They tell us to ask strong questions and live by the values we build for ourselves. Nietzsche's words still matter today because he spoke about a life without given answers. He said meaning is not found outside, but made inside by each person. When people no longer follow old religious rules, they feel lost. Nietzsche said that instead of staying sad, we must build our own meaning in this new world. He did not give easy solutions. He asked deep questions to help people think for themselves. He taught that life's meaning is not found, it is created each day. Nietzsche wanted people to be active in life, not just wait for purpose to come. He said we must choose, act, and grow, even when life feels hard or unclear. He believed pain can help us find what really matters. When we face hurt and troubles, we can learn more about who we are and what we truly want from life. Instead of being broken by pain, Nietzsche said we can use it to rise. Hurt can be a door to a better self, built with strong hands and a brave heart. One of his biggest lessons is to ask better questions. Nietzsche said the point is not to have all the answers, but to ask deeply, even if it's hard or scary. Many people want simple answers, but Nietzsche said life is full of change. He said we grow by asking, thinking, and finding new paths as we live each day. This is not always easy, but he believed that in asking good questions, we shape a better life, one that fits who we really are, not just what others expect. Nietzsche's words make us think about freedom in a new way. He said true freedom means making our own way, not just doing what others tell us to do. This freedom is not easy. It means walking your own path without help from old rules or simple truths. You must carry the weight of your own choices. But Nietzsche thought this hard kind of freedom is worth it. When we live by our truths, not others, we become stronger, wiser, and closer to real power inside.